Protein is without a doubt the most important thing we can consume. But does that mean it's the only thing we should eat? My name is Mark Morris, and today I'm going to teach you what you need to know about the carnivore diet. Here we go. For starters, what is the first thing you think about when you hear the word carnivore? Probably meat eater, right? Meaning you're eating meat, which is protein. The word protein is actually derived from the Greek word proteos, which means primary. It's the first thing we build meals around, and it's very important for anyone looking to improve their body composition, meaning looking to get leaner or gain muscle or improve their athletic performance. Therefore, it's really important in the world of nutrition coaching. But does that mean it's the only thing we should eat? Probably not, and today I'm going to teach you why. Let's break down the carnivore client and why it's important for you and your nutrition clients. The carnivore diet focuses on eating meat and animal products only. Since the carnivore diet is meat-centric and focuses on eliminating all plant foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, it ends up being very low carbohydrate and higher protein and fat. The thought is limiting your intake to animal and animal-derived foods and nothing else limits your exposure to things like bad fats, glyphosate, artificial hormones, and antibiotics, which, as we'll talk about today, may or may not even be true or impact your health. What could be some of the benefits to following the carnivore diet? One of the proposed benefits, and the reason why some people may be inclined to follow the carnivore diet, is weight loss. Both the restrictive nature of the diet and the satiating aspects of increased protein could contribute to a reduction in overall calorie intake, which, as you know, is important for weight loss. The carnivore diet also boasts about being gut friendly. Since meat is mainly protein and fat and is low in fiber, most of the digestion occurs before the lower digestive tract. For those with irritable bowel syndrome or inflammatory bowel disease experiencing symptoms, following the carnivore diet could be helpful. An extension of the carnivore diet is the idea of nose to tail eating. This is the notion of consuming the entire or complete animal. For example, many people are used to consuming the muscle component of the actual animal, like ribeye steak or pork belly or chicken wings, etc. But there is much more we could eat and see health benefits. Eating nose to tail includes more unfamiliar parts of the animal, like beef heart and tongue and liver and kidneys, but not just organ meat as well. We're talking about chicken feet and tendon and cartilage. Supporters of nose to tail eating have pointed out that our ancestors have always ate this way and therefore argue that we should continue to do so. Supporters also argue that this is a much more sustainable eating practice. And I can't really argue. Eating nose to tail involves much less waste, especially when compared to eating only muscle cuts of the animal solely. What are some other benefits? Another proposed benefit of nose to tail eating is a more complete nutrition profile, especially when compared to just muscle meat only. Additional micronutrients that aren't typically found elsewhere, like vitamin B12 and choline and vitamin K2, are found in high levels in organ meats. Fans of this way of eating that argue against eating only the muscle meat sometimes make the claim that eating only this way, only the muscle meat, can lead to an amino acid imbalance. Remember, protein is made up of amino acids, some essential, meaning that we need to consume them in our diet, and some non-essential, meaning we can make them ourselves. Ravenous nose-to-tail fans explain that eating only muscle meat, which is rich in the amino acid methionine, which is an essential amino acid, meaning again that we need to consume it, may deplete glycine, which is a non-essential amino acid. The idea here is that this shift leads to higher levels of the amino acid homocysteine, which can lead to cardiovascular issues. So supporters of eating nose-to-tail point out that eating things like collagen that is high in glycine, as well as things like bone broth and connective tissue, can influence this shift. For the record, this theory has never made its way into practice, and thus no reputable sources are touting it as a way to decrease cardiovascular risk. At this point, it's an interesting theory, and we may learn more, but at this point, I wouldn't go out of my way to eat organ meat for this sole reason alone. Like anything else, it's not a bad idea to rotate and vary your protein sources, and if you enjoy eating nose to tail, it may benefit your health and contribute to less food waste. But unsurprisingly, people also like to take this way of thinking to extremes. A more extreme version of the carnivore diet is the idea that people should be consuming raw meat. This controversial idea stems from TikTok star and supplement company owner Liver King Brian Johnson. He promotes 9 ancestral tenets, one that's centered around eating. The Liver King supposedly eats around a pound of raw liver per day and promotes it as the most nutrient-dense meat that will help promote muscle building. You don't need to do this, please don't do this. This is all part of the Liver King's message to ditch modern living and revert back to our ancestral ways to become the most dominant and healthy version of yourself. One of Liver King's beliefs, and I use the word beliefs loosely, is that eating organs will strengthen your organs. You often will see him eating bull testicles because he believes this is the best way to strengthen your testicles. My wife and her family, who grew up on a cattle ranch, would eat beef testicles after castration and branding, fully cooked mind you, because they liked them and it was part of the tradition, not because it would strengthen anyone's balls. Unfortunately, in the Liver King's case, this is a blatant example of some of the dangers of social media. Nothing that he is promoting or touting is actually true. And eating raw, uncooked meat that could contain harmful bacteria and parasites could very well make you very ill. So please proceed with caution, or at least talk to your doctor before doing any of this stuff. Also, eating liver in excessive amounts can be dangerous due to high levels of vitamin A that can lead to toxicity. I think it's obvious, but there are much better ways to improve your health. Now let's get back to reality for a second. One thing that is worth highlighting for anyone trying to improve their body composition, athletic performance, or overall health is the benefits to eating meat. Often we hear that animal proteins are a complete source of protein. What does this mean? Well, consuming protein provides us with the amino acids that we need to grow and repair, and many foods that are derived from animal products are complete sources of protein, meaning they provide us with all the essential amino acids. See, there are some amino acids that we cannot produce in our own bodies, and those are called the essential amino acids. Some protein sources are considered incomplete because they lack one or more essential amino acids. Typically, this includes plant-based protein sources like fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. What does the research say about these different protein sources? There have been a few large population-based studies investigating protein intake in sarcopenia, which is essentially losing muscle in adults. These studies compared animal and plant-based protein diets and assessed outcomes like the preservation of muscle mass. What they found is that the animal-based protein sources demonstrated a stronger ability to promote protein synthesis. Systematic review comparing animal and plant-based protein sources and their influence on lean muscle mass found that the animal protein sources had a stronger influence on lean body mass. One way to assess the protein quality of a food source is something called the protein digestibility corrected amino acid score. This method is used to analyze and assess protein quality in a food source. The score is determined by the amino acid makeup of the protein, as well as how well it's digested. As discussed previously, animal sources are typically more complete protein sources, as well as they've been shown to have a higher digestibility, meaning that they routinely score higher than plant-based sources when it comes to quality. So as you can see, including animal-based protein sources is an important part of our diet. They provide high-quality protein sources that can improve our health. Obviously, this is important as nutrition coaches because a lot of our clients want to get leaner or gain muscle. But again, does this mean that eating animal protein is the only thing that we should be eating? By excluding plant foods, you may be missing out on a lot of benefits. Let's take a minute to talk about those. And before we do, there's a lot of people that talk about nutrition on the internet. Some is really good and factual, and others not so much. Now, obviously, there isn't a complete consensus around should you eat plants, but even this guy who cherry picks stuff all the time and completely hates sugar thinks you should be eating blueberries. He's not onto much, but he is onto something, so let's chalk that up as a W for plants. But what else is there in the plant column? Number one, dietary fiber. Plant foods such as fruits, vegetables, and legumes contain dietary fiber. Fiber is an important part of a healthy diet because it does promote healthy bowel movements and regulates blood sugar. There is also growing evidence to support the impact that fiber has on gut health, which can be linked to many other aspects of health like reducing chronic disease and mental health and autoimmune conditions. And since fiber is what the bacteria in our guts use for energy, it's important to give it that fuel. The evidence also shows that those that consume adequate fiber on a regular basis from varying sources of plant foods have increased diversity in their gut microbiome. Now, anecdotally, I do know people that eat the carnivore diet way, and they swear they have no issues with their bowel movements or regularity. But the opinion of a few does not make the rule, so eat your fiber. Next up, number two, vitamins and minerals. Fruits and vegetables do provide a variety of essential vitamins and minerals. If there's one thing we know from research, a diet rich in fruits and vegetables has been consistently shown to decrease your risk of cardiovascular disease and be protective against cancer. And it could be due to the vitamins and minerals coming from these fruits and vegetables. And lastly, number three, antioxidants. Many fruits and vegetables contain powerful substances known as antioxidants. These substances protect us against cell damage that occurs from everyday regular processes like digesting and metabolizing food. Now, some antioxidants do naturally occur in meat, but the majority are found in fruits and vegetables. So we must eat them. Now, here's the deal. After studying the field of nutrition, which does have its limitations, over the last 20 years, I have come to this conclusion. Eating fruits and vegetables, for most people, is one of the best things you can do for your health. I can say that with certainty. Additionally, after assessing the diets of nearly 5,000 plus people, most people aren't eating nearly enough protein, and animal-based protein sources could be one part of that solution. So stop chasing replacing the thing that someone is selling you as a complete game changer, and start consistently doing the things that we know right now based on the science can help. This means eating meat, but also plant-based foods in the right proportions based on your goals, in your individual requirements and needs. That's where the magic happens. Now, if you or your clients want to do the carnivore diet, I don't see why you can't try it. But for most, this isn't the path to sustainable, optimal health. And that's my take on the carnivore diet. As great as all those tips are, if you're really serious about starting a nutrition coaching business, the next thing I'll have you do is check out this video I've linked up right here. Now that you have a better understanding of the carnivore diet, learn why gut health is so important. So make sure to check it out now, and I'll see you in the next video.